environmentally wishes. And so we need to look at the cost of having to forgo usage of LPG because of the prices, and then the environmental damage that will be caused by the usage of those other fuels. In some countries, governments have subsidized the LPG so that they encourage the continuous use of the LPG as against other fuels because of the environmental damage. But I don't think that this is also the time that in these hard times, the government will have that money to either reduce its taxes on the LPG or even go on to subsidize it, as they normally say. So these are very difficult times, and I think that yes, it's going to cost some hardship. Prices have increased, just like was said in the studio. Food prices have begun to increase. Products that go into construction have begun to increase. Even those who provide labor services in the construction industry have increased their prices. And all of these things has been a cumulative effect of the increase in the transportation fares that went on as a result of the taxes that were imposed at the beginning of this year for the government to recover some of the costs that we incurred during the COVID times last year. So these are difficult times, but I don't think there's much that can be done.
Okay, but let's look at even the taxes, which is, I mean, yes, we know have been imposed. Now, cumulatively, can those taxes trigger the kind of increase that we see? Because when you look at the building materials, for instance, in some instances, 30 to 40% increase. Now, that's not the margin of increase we've seen in taxes.
Obviously, there has been an increase in transportation costs. Don't forget that the construction industry depends so much on transportation for the aggregates in terms of the stones, the block, everything in construction depends on transportation because of the bulky nature of the materials that are used. And so if transport fares have gone up, even without an increase in the taxes of some of these products, it will lead to an increase in the price of these products. So, and also don't forget that at times these things, the expectations that come with it, once the budget was read and there was the announcement that there was going to be an increase in the tax component of some of our fuel products and other increases in taxes, I mean, market participants will throw that into their expectations. And the businessmen and women will begin to increase their prices even before the actual impact takes place. So you tend to have a greater impact on the price change for this product than you would expect when it has to do with the increase in taxes. Because the businesswoman will tell you that the taxes are going to increase, I'm going to have to pay a higher price for the wholesale of these goods. And therefore, if I don't increase my prices now, how am I going to be able to restock my supplies? So there are so many factors that are played that causes some of these. So normally when these things happen, it's quite unfortunate that the average household bears a brunt of this, but there's not much that can be done about it.
Let me get to Professor Osei-Sibe, because I mean, even if we are talking about transport prices going up, and so that could be the cause, we're looking at people transporting goods in larger quantities, and so by extension, if you look at the cost and you're to spread it on your goods, you should take into consideration the total amount of goods, and by extension, the spread would not lead to a substantial increase. What is our situation currently, Professor Osei-Sibe? Hello, Prof. Okay, I think, do we still have Professor Osei-Sibe?
Hello?
Yes, Prof, yes, we can hear you, yes.
Yes, unfortunately, your voice wasn't coming out clearly. So if you can repeat your question for me.
Okay, so what I was saying is that, I mean, speaking to Dr. Tex, and he's talked about how, the increase in transport fares, petroleum prices going up, and even the taxes could be the reason why we're seeing, the high cost of goods and services. And I'm asking, when it comes to transportation, for instance, these persons will buy things in larger quantities. And so the cost of transportation, if you were to spread it on the total goods that you have, shouldn't that be marginal? I mean, shouldn't that be little rather than having a lot of increase in these goods?
Right. Yes, you are right with that. I mean, particularly the medium service people, the middlemen, often they carry this in large haulage, and then they are able to spread the cost across. But just to add to what Dr. Texan was saying, I mean, beyond the fact that we've had the prices, taxes, and others increasing, I think there's also demand side issues. I mean, with the COVID easing, you could clearly see that there's some kind of pent-up demand in the economy. There's a surge in the economy, which is not being matched by production.
Okay.
There is still some production or supply side constraints to our production. So you look at the cement, for example, you see that the demand is huge now because everybody appears to be going into construction after the easing up and people not having the opportunity to travel, to spend their money on other things, pushing a lot of money in construction and real estate. But the production has really not kept pace with this. And so more often than not, you see there's a shortage and the producers take opportunity of that to increase prices here and there. So we can also explain the rise in prices as a result of high increased surge in demand, which is not being matched by the supply side. We've had a very huge supply constraint. You know, the COVID brought some huge output gap that really has to be filled. And the market production has not responded as quickly as the demand has been. And so we've seen these demand pressures that are putting prices or putting pressures on prices going up. So that is one of it. If you look at the issue of the LPG, as you've spoken about at your studio, I think one of the things that we should also look at, for me, is the levies that have been packed on the LPG, just as also on the petroleum prices. I think that as a country, the time has come that we rethink some of these levies again, because in my minded view, I think that some of them are just repetition. They are just a duplication of the same thing or the same levies. For example, you look at the build-up, the LPG build-up price, the export price, and then you find in one of the lines talking about energy debt recovery levy, and then you come down and then you see also energy sector recovery levy. That is quite, surprising because essentially these are talking about the same thing. You also see price stabilization and recovery levy there. And these are all different rates that are being put on the export prices. And so if we unpack this and then we do some kind of rationalization, I'm sure that taking or merging some of these levies may have some kind of gains for consumers. But to a large extent, I believe that the pressures in the economy also has to do with the demand outstripping supply, and that is putting a lot of pressure on prices to go up. But let me also say that the concerns of people with the fact that there's harsh, and the economy is now being harsh, the cost of living is increasing. Yes, they have a point. But also on one hand, I don't think that they have all the point, or in my view, somewhat is being exaggerated in the sense that you have to look at it in a totality.
Okay.
You look at the fact that, of course, it's for some selective products. Taxes have been imposed generally on that VAT going up, so you expect that the general consumption price would go up. But then which are the goods that are going up? Largely it's non-food products, right? And the non-food product like petroleum, you're talking about housing, that is estates, you're talking about transportation, and others would go up. But on the other side too, you look at the food side, and you see that the prices of food are also on the decline. And so it is not surprising that you see that the general price level, which I'm mostly define what inflation is about, will be declining in that the food inflation, it takes a chunk. I mean, the weight on the basket is high. And so depending on who is spending and what you are spending on, you may say that the economic condition is harsh. But if, for example, you live in a village where you don't have to take or buy petrol or take transportation as much as one would do in the big cities, you may see things differently. So it's not so much as the economic conditions have been high. Of course, they have some legitimate concern, but not as people are saying, in my view, because the data and then the economic conditions or indicators really do not support that kind of general concern. But if you look at it from product to product, you may say that yes, some products prices have gone up, but at the same time, some product prices are going down. So on the average, you see a decline.
Yeah, but talking about, on the average, and also talking about transportation, for instance, even when it comes to food prices, that's also being transported. And just recently, I mean, some persons who are into, poultry farming, for instance, complained about the cost of feed. And here they complain about the cost of maize. And so while it may be the case that some foodstuffs may not have gone up, as you say, others have also gone up. And that is also the truth.
Absolutely. I mean, you don't expect all of them to be trending downward. What is important is the weight of each of the products in the basket. And so we've seen some costs, input costs increasing for some selected products, but also on the others, you've seen that there's a decline. If we are able to, for example, tackle some of the supply constraint issues, like as the poultry farmers are complaining, then of course we will have that side of it decreasing. So I think that we should, as policy, we shouldn't use the same brush to paint, or use the same brush to paint or to generalize the issue. We have to really unpack it. There are some products that are currently not performing. The cost of it is increasing. That is the input cost. Intermediate costs are increasing. We have to fish those ones out and try to support such sectors or such services. If we are able to do that, obviously we can have prices coming down, and then also the complaints of the public, being assuaged to a large extent. Because if you look at where we are coming from, inflation, for example, if you look at the pre-COVID era, what we have now is much lower than what we have in the pre-COVID era, which is good. I mean, given what we have gone through over the last couple of years. But in the big cities, the things that people spend on, like petroleum, like housing, and like transportation, these are the things that are really going up. And so we have to do some kind of targeted response to some of these products.
What should be the targeted response? What should be that targeted response?
Yes, so you look at, for example, the levies or the taxes that have been imposed. Many of it, in my view, they are quite regressive in nature, especially when you over-concentrate on VAT. You realize that it's the poor that ends up paying more within the big cities. And so the targeted response is making sure that it becomes more progressive, so that it is the wealthy, in society that really tend to pay more. And that will mean that government focusing on mass transportation to a large extent to reduce the transportation fares for the ordinary Ghanaian that uses transport and all of that. In that case, it's targeted because you are trying to reduce the burden on the middle class or on the poor in the society who often uses this mass transportation, and then pushing the burden on people really whose income are above certain level. That is quite targeted, and also removing taxes or levies from products like LPG, if we are serious about sustainable development and conserving energy. I think these are also targeted to encourage the poor to use more of LPGs. Otherwise, it's going to be counterproductive in the sense that they are really going to drift their demand towards the environmental harmful energy usage products. So we have to unpack the whole situation and then have much more targeted interventions that would ensure that, in a way, we reduce the burden on those at the lower end of the market, and then ensuring that those at the higher end of the market pay their due in that sense, so that the complaints will reduce, other than having one one size fits all kind of thing policy. I think we should really be more targeted. We should look at case by case or sector by sector, and come out with much more human face kind of policies that reduces one also inequalities in the system. Because if you over concentrate on general policies that, for example, the VAT that I talk about, we end up widening the inequality gap, and you see many more people complaining in the process.
Now, I want to bring in Dr. Turkson at this point, because, there's an aspect of this conversation that, I'll be honest, I can't wrap my head around. Kweku Kwarteng, who is the chairman of the Finance Committee in Parliament, raised this on the floor of Parliament, that there seem to be some price hikes in building materials. So he talked about the fact that cement is now about 48 Ghana cedis per bag, but that's not the only thing that is going up. He's seen increases in prices for sand and iron rods. Even the water that is supplied to construction sites, according to Mr. Kwarteng, is going up in price, which means, of course, we can expect a hike in rent and other building-related services. The mystery, however, is that none of these items have attracted any new taxes. So what is the economics of it? What is driving up the price? I mean, do we suddenly have an increase in demand for houses? What exactly is going on? Can anyone fathom the economics here?
Why not? I mean, the transportation is key as one of the cost items in this industry. I mean, haulage of cement, haulage of stones, sand, water, and all of that depends on transport. And once transport fares go up or fuel prices go up, and it impacts on transport fares, you are going to expect that to happen. I mean, don't forget also that the sector itself normally during certain periods of the year normally sees some of these price hikes, and for very good reasons. The situation we have now, which is calling for concern, is because of the fact that we are just coming, I'm not saying we are even out of the woods yet, but we are just coming from a devastating effect of COVID on our economy, on jobs and everything. And so as people begin to recover and they see these price hikes, it calls for concern. There's no doubt about it. I'm surprised that the former Deputy Minister of Finance is surprised about this. I mean, this shouldn't come as a surprise. And for his information, a bag of cement is 50. It's not even 48. And when you talk to them, they say, look, transportation fares have gone up. The other things that we don't look at normally are the workers that work for them in terms of hauling these cement bags from the huge trucks into the warehouses. And then they also are paying higher transportation fares from home to work and back, paying higher for food and all of that. And they also ask for an increase in their wages. And so all of these things factor into the ultimate price of these items. And so I'm very surprised the minister is seeing this and as a surprise. In any case, I mean, what did you expect when we increase taxes on fuel? That is normally the impact that you expect. Now, I mean, to add to what Professor Osei said, I think that the fact that food price inflation has declared doesn't mean food prices are not increasing. And I mean, we all go to the market, there are increases in food prices. It is a cost that this nation should have expected. I mean, given the choices the present government had. And when we all ask that the government should find a way of raising revenue than borrowing, the ultimate choice for us was to go to fuel, other fuel sources, and then impose taxes there because that is easy to collect. That is something that you can target and get your revenues. But it was going to come at the cost of inflation. The good thing is that between January and now, there has been a downward trend in inflation. And this is about the right time when you impose some of these taxes and influence into inflation. This is about the time that you can do some of these things. It's only quite unfortunate that Ghanaians are struggling a bit. But we cannot blame the government entirely for this. COVID has been the main reason for what we find ourselves in. And so let's hope that we can recover economy as soon as possible. Supply response would increase to meet the increase in demand, and then our economy will get back. And then maybe in the immediate future, we are going to have a reduction in some of these taxes, and then also some sort of reprieve for the consumers. But as we sit now, I don't think that we should have expected anything different. This is not to say that the economy is not being managed properly, but the devastating effect of the COVID and the choices that we had to make at the beginning of this year were the right choices that we made. It was going to come with some hardship. And I think that Ghanaians need to brace up themselves for that and hope that as soon as possible, our economy will get back to where it was before the COVID.
Well, that's a hopeful note on which to wrap this up. I want to say a big thank you to you both, Dr. Turkson and Professor Osei Sibe, for your insights there. It's now time to hear from you, and you know the numbers, so please call us now. 0302 216 541, 055 1111 997. Okay, 0302 216 541, 055 1111 997. Ray.
In all of this, there's an important conversation that ought to be had. See, people ordinarily would feel better if things improved in their lives. And we all know that COVID has had a very devastating impact on people's lives. We're just earlier talking about the jobs are available and the ones that are not available. If every 2 weeks LPG prices are going high, and yet the taxes remain, the illogic in all of this LPG pricing formula is that it was introduced to make sure that we abandon other environmentally unfriendly fuel sources. That is, it was first introduced with even some subsidy so that every poor person can get this as an alternative and cheaper source of fuel so that we don't use wood and other very dangerous fuel sources which will destroy the environment. And yet, increasingly, we have actually burdened the same poor person who switched from wood and other things to get the LPG by making sure that we pay more taxes on it. Paying more taxes means that in the future, people are abandoning this, what they call it, cheaper, previously, an alternative source, and going back to the wood and other very dangerous ones. In the period where you are promoting climate change and all the other things involved, it also means that consumption is going to decline at a faster rate. Government said we're supposed to increase by almost 50%. We are nowhere near that target because if the people cannot buy it, nobody's going to consume it anyway. The third option is that beyond consumption, there are already people who are running that business in the LPG sector. If people are not buying, that means they have to reduce the outlets available, and they're also going to sack Ghanaians who are working in this sector. So it has cascading effects on many things. And hopefully, if we just pick out the taxation part alone, we are going to at least reduce the price of LPG today by 20%.
Exactly, and that's one of the things we should be doing.
Yeah.
Look, it's very important because, Professor Sesibe makes the point. look, if you think that, if you say you're going to creatively raise revenue, and one of the things you do is to go for fuel, for instance, you're going to bring hardships onto the people. Creatively generating revenue does not mean that just go for the easy approach, which is fuel. And in this case, we've seen LPG, we saw a kilogram of LPG, being taxed 18 pesos when, fuel prices were when the taxes were announced after the reading of the budget. Even though the finance minister at the time did not announce that in Parliament, we brought it back. I think one of the things we have to do is to rethink that whole taxation exercise when it comes to fuel, particularly LPG. We have to rethink it. Government promised to move away from taxation to production. Yes, we know that COVID has brought a bit of hardships, but this is the time to creatively generate revenue.
And in the sub-region, other countries are actually subsidizing right now.
Imagine that. We're moving the other way. Okay, well, when we come back, we'll hear from you on the Super Morning Show. Stay with us.
To handle fire caused by LPG, take the following steps. If possible, turn off the regulator on the cylinder to stop the gas from causing more fire. Immediately, call the fire service. Do not try putting out LPG fire with water. Instead, use fire extinguisher. Children should immediately call for help when they smell gas or notice a fire. Remember, never place a cylinder to a source of heat or use a stone to stop a leaking cylinder. A message from the National Petroleum Authority.
Liquefied petroleum gas. Liquefied petroleum gas. Use it safely and wisely.
Nana, Yen Control. Jumia presents Celebrate Your Everyday. It's Jumia's 9th anniversary and we are celebrating with amazing specials. Enjoy up to 50% discount on your favorite brands. Jumia Day for you, Ankasa. Download the Jumia app. Jumia, your everyday delivered.
Hey, Ben, Mr. Study Abroad, welcome back.
Thanks, Monet. I missed Accra, but I'll never forget the canals of the Netherlands and beautiful St. Louis in the US. I really feel like a global citizen.
That's the Webster Advantage. A quality American degree, small class sizes, top-notch campus facilities, and the chance to spend up to a school year in the US, Europe, or Asia.
Apply now to become a Webster University student for undergraduate studies or to pursue a master's program. Call 054-012-0849 or 69 and visit webster.edu.gh today.
Your office they shine.
Yes, so I tell you say for proper and modern ceiling solutions, the answer be Interface Limited. Them get in stock acoustic ceilings where you go fit make your office fine like my own.
Or even better pass your own self.
We can better pass my own.
Shall I go Interface right now?
Interface Limited is the leading supplier and installer of finishing input materials for the building and construction industry in Ghana. Call us on 0274-999999 or visit our website at
www.interfacelimited.net. Facebook, Interface Limited GH. Instagram, interface.limited.
Welcome back. Let's talk. Let's talk about it. What is it you want to be heard on? Is it the COVID situation? Is it the hardships that some perceive to be in the system? Let's have a conversation. But first, are you watching TV on a flat screen, HD TV? Did you know that you can get it in clearer and brighter high-definition quality, 5 times better than standard definition? Get yourself the new HD Plus decoder today from the nearest authorized dealer or from any Electroland showroom across the country and enjoy the feely experience on your HD TV like never before. Go to hd-plus.com.gh or call 0242 439 872 for more details.
Also, guys, we know that we're living in extraordinary times and we've been advised several times to stay home and stay safe if you really do not need to step out. Well, at Standard Chartered, we've got you covered. You do not need to step out to transact. Indeed, we've put majority of your in-branch transactions on our groundbreaking mobile banking app, SC Mobile. So right from the comfort of your home, wherever you may be, you can request, stop a checkbook, transfer money to other accounts, send mobile money, and also request or activate or block a new debit or credit card request or stop a fixed deposit. I'm not done. You can actually confirm a check for payment, request a letter or your statement, add a signature to your account, and of course, open an account. Right there on SC Mobile. On your phone, you can also buy and sell government bonds and securities. So there you have it. You don't need to go into the banking hall to do your banking. Download SC Mobile now. Remember to stay home, stay safe, and transact on SC Mobile. Standard Chartered continues to be Ghana's #1 digital bank. Standard Chartered here for good. And of course, would love to get your tweets and text messages on the Super Morning Show, brought to us by the Glyco Critical Illness Plan, GSIP. It's in your best interest to survive.
Now, at Glyco Life, they believe this is the time to protect your future with their life insurance policies. Now, if you're a policy holder, your claims are very important to them. So the advisors, go visit them at their office or just go to glycolife.com to lodge your claims for prompt service. And we're all in this COVID-19 boat together, so please pay your premiums via your chosen mode, whether it's Momo on 059-144-1473 or e-premium for micro insurance. Now, the call center is ready to help on 0202-222-113. Call them or just contact Glyco Life via their digital channels. They care for your safety, so all offices are implementing the recommended COVID-19 protocols. Please practice social distancing, keep safe, and trust Glyco Life to cushion you for life. All right, then, let's talk to Edward in Tema. Edward, good morning.
Kojo, good morning.
Thanks for calling, my brother.
Thank you very much, Kojo. Kojo, mine is more of a question than... Kojo, I do haulage, okay? And the increment that we are enjoying from those producers is ranging between 0.2, 20 pesos to 50 pesos. So I also don't understand how it is affecting the market dynamics. It is not substantive enough to change it. So what they are saying, some of us still need further clarification to understand. Thank you.
Very well. Thank you for sharing. George is at mile 7. Hi, George.
Yeah, Kojo.
My brother, how are you?
You know what? Hardship, there will be hardship. And we are all under the hardship. But where to lay the blame is the structure of our economy, which has been like that for a very long time. It is a case of taxes versus productivity.
George, can you turn down the radio, please? We're getting some feedback. Yeah, turn it off, actually. Just listen to us on the phone. Yeah.
Okay.
There you go. Yeah, please continue. Hello, George. Oh, dear. We've lost George. Call us back if you can, George, from mile 7. We've got Peter. Is this Peter T?
No, Gojo.
Oh, hello, Peter. Good morning.
Good morning, Gojo.
Thanks for calling us. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Ashanti, just to be precise.
Oh, brilliant. So go ahead, please.
Gojo, in fact, the hardship now is just too much. I'm a teacher. This is one of the basic schools. As I'm speaking to you, and I don't have TND to go to school.
Wow.
It's not easy. I have 3 kids. There's my 14.5 cylinder. Last time I heard it is right now almost 1.1. That one thing. We don't know what is happening. This animal called democracy is not helping us in this country.
So what is it that's taking away all your income to the point where you don't even have money to travel to school?
Charlie, you have to put up some structure. You have to send your kids to school every day. They have to commute from home to school. Right now, if you go to market, even normally we buy this very soft. Last time when you bought it was 90. Right now it's 12 cedis. In fact, the life now in Ghana is just becoming. It's not easy. Sometimes I feel dejected to be experienced. I need to go and teach technique because if I'm in the classroom, I have a lot of problems to think about. How do I concentrate and feel good and teach the kids?
Peter, thank you for sharing. Thank you. Wow. Emmanuel joins us. Emmanuel, good morning.
Good morning, Kojo.
Talk to me, my brother.
How are you doing?
God is in control.
Thank you. I'm enjoying the conversation this morning and the discussion to goes on. But my opinion is just a question that I want to ask. Is there a solution for all these problems happening in Ghana? Because it seems like our leaders are not doing anything about it. Increases in building materials, fuel, and all these things. And, that's what I want to ask. Is there a way we can solve all these things? People are struggling outside. People are dying because every day in and out, things are just increasing. So I'm just asking, is there a way the government can do something, all these things, the hardship should go down? Thank you very much this morning.
Thank you so much. Seth is in Accra. Hi, Seth. Good morning.
Hello, Kojo.
Thanks for calling, Seth.
Yeah, thanks very much, Kojo. Last week when I heard the Deputy Finance Minister complaining bitterly about the cost of living in Ghana, and I said, Ghana is ended. You have no hope again. If politicians are asked to go and manage and solve problems, a Deputy Minister of Finance is at Parliament, which is to make law to govern us in a better way, is complaining. It's just like you complain to your children that life is unbearable again, and you expect your children to clap for you, because you have no hope again. I can't imagine it. Prices of things are just escalating, seriously escalating. I feel so pathetic when people even talk about salary is the same, salary is the same. Don't forget about people who don't even have what to do to talk about salary. So they are on peasant work, they are doing peasant work. So a holistic issue has to be, it has to look at it holistically, and people who are downtrodden have to look into. So I believe our politicians or people who are managing affairs should think through and come and tell us that, oh, this is what we have done. Not to come and tell us the problem we are already aware of. I wonder the price of cement, when it's going to go down again. All these prices, there's no way they can go down any longer. They'll continue to increase. Then where are we going? I mean, virtually, then for me, it came to a point where I get to understand that should we know the democracy we are practicing should be abolished totally. I prefer military system than a democracy.
Well, thanks for that. By the way, quick clarification. Kweku Kwarteng is no longer the Deputy Finance Minister. He is the chair of the Finance Committee in Parliament, though. All right, let's take one more call. Here's George. Hi, George.
Yeah, hi, Kujo. I was on the line, but my radio was on, so I was saying, you see, it's the structure, the way we have structured our economy. A lot of money goes into paying a few elites. And I know that people will want to hang me for that. You know, if we spend our money that we have, our pay, on productivity, like for instance, one district, one factory, we speed it up. We say to almost everybody who's been working for all these years, if you believe you can work for somebody and manage somebody's business, go and manage your own business. Set up the venture capital fund. It's already there. Put all the monies that we are going to use to pay Article 70 people who are now being 71. Doubled with their spouses, okay, into that fund. We will produce. Every young man will work. Every factory, every firm will work. When they produce, okay, and then we tax them, then we'll have more in our keeping. Okay? But the situation right now is that we are taxing poor people, unemployed people who are not working, okay, to go and take care of the Article 70 people who are now adding their spouses and paying them volumes. Then they buy this, they buy that, they buy all the luxury for themselves. That is the problem of the country. It can never give us comfort. We only suffer hardship. You understand what I'm saying? Hello?
We get it, George. Thanks for making that point. We appreciate it very much. And we appreciate all of you who have called us today. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. Thank you for listening to the Super Morning Show. And after this last message, DJ Wobete is going to do his thing and bow us out beautifully. On behalf of the entire team, Winston Amwa, Raymond Aqua, Sami Odame, Victor Brache, Aaron Richards, Dennis Fairboy, not forgetting, of course, DJ Wobete, and all overseen by Elvis Kwashi, our executive producer. On behalf of the entire team, I say thank you ever so much for joining us on this magnificent Monday morning edition of the Super Morning Show. Tomorrow is Terrific Tuesday. We'll see you then.
What would you do if you have the choice to do anything in life? Build your dream house, take very good care of your family, and plan for a comfortable retirement. Plan a befitting funeral for your loved ones when they depart. How would you live if you knew there was a friend waiting to support you on all of your life's choices?
You have such a friend in